Humanity has achieved things once thought impossible. We sent machines beyond Earth, created artificial intelligence, and uncovered the secrets of life itself. Yet there is one system we created that we still cannot fully control: the economy. In 1929, it collapsed and pushed millions into poverty. In 2008, it nearly broke the global financial system. And every time a crisis happens, humanity returns to the same question: do we truly understand how the economy works? Imagine a modern city waking up in the morning. Millions of people buy coffee, go to work, save, invest, and make billions of tiny decisions. There is no central control room managing everything, yet somehow food reaches stores, electricity flows, and money moves around the planet. But when this system fails, the consequences can change millions of lives. For more than 2 centuries, the greatest minds have tried to understand this invisible machine. But instead of discovering one final answer, they created very different visions. Some believed in individual freedom. Some believed governments must intervene. Others argued that the problem existed deep inside the structure of the system itself. The story begins in the 18th century, when much of the world was still controlled by empires and monarchies. Adam Smith introduced a radical idea. Prosperity did not have to come from the commands of rulers. It could emerge naturally from millions of free individuals trading, creating, and pursuing their own goals. Smith argued that markets worked like a massive network. When people tried to solve their own problems, earning a living, inventing, and building businesses, they often unintentionally created value for others. He described this mysterious process with a famous metaphor: the invisible hand of the market. This became the foundation of classical economics. Markets were viewed as systems capable of adjusting themselves. Prices acted like signals, telling businesses what to produce and helping consumers make decisions. But as capitalism expanded, another problem began to appear. As giant factories rose during the Industrial Revolution, the world became wealthier than ever before. Machines produced goods at unprecedented speeds, new cities emerged, and new industries were born. But behind this prosperity was a reality that could not be ignored. Not everyone benefited equally. This was when Karl Marx entered the debate. Marx did not see the economy simply as a free exchange between equal individuals. He saw a struggle for power between those who owned capital, factories, land, and machines, and those who only had their labor to sell. According to Marx, the biggest problem with capitalism was not that it failed to create wealth. In fact, it created enormous amounts of wealth. The problem was how that wealth was distributed. He believed economic power would gradually concentrate among fewer people, creating increasing inequality. Marx's ideas became among the most influential and controversial in history. To some, he exposed the darker side of capitalism. To others, his proposed solutions created even greater problems. But whether people agreed or disagreed, Marx forced economics to confront a difficult question: what is growth for, and who should benefit from it? But then, history created an even greater challenge for every economic theory. In the 1920s, the American economy seemed unstoppable. Stock markets soared, businesses expanded, and people believed prosperity would continue forever. But within a few days in 1929, that confidence collapsed. The Great Depression was not just a normal recession. Banks failed. Factories closed. Millions of people wanted to work but could not find jobs. It caused many to question a long-held belief: can markets always fix themselves? Classical economists believed that over time, wages and prices would adjust, businesses would recover, and the economy would return to balance. But there was one major problem. If that process took years, an entire generation of people could pay the price. This was when John Maynard Keynes changed the way the world thought. Keynes argued that during a severe crisis, an economy could become trapped in a dangerous cycle. People spend less, businesses earn less, they lay off workers, and that causes spending to fall even further. Keynes believed that sometimes the economy was like an engine that had stalled. It was not necessarily destroyed, but it needed an external force to restart. During those special moments, governments could stimulate demand, create jobs, and restore confidence. After World War II, Keynesian ideas became central to economic policy in many countries. Governments invested in roads, schools, infrastructure, and used fiscal policies to reduce the impact of recessions. For decades, it seemed like humanity had finally learned how to control economic cycles. But history would once again prove that the economy was more complicated than we imagined. In the 1970s, a strange phenomenon appeared. Many economies experienced slow growth and high unemployment, while prices continued to rise. It became known as stagflation, a combination many economic models struggled to explain, a weak economy where everything still became more expensive. Critics of Keynes argued that the problem came from governments trying to control too much. One of the most important voices was Friedrich Hayek. He argued that an economy was not a simple machine, but a complex network of billions of individual choices that no single authority could fully understand. According to the Austrian school, prices are not just numbers. They are signals carrying information about demand, resources, and scarcity. When these signals are heavily distorted, people can make wrong decisions, like trying to navigate with an inaccurate map. Around the same time, Milton Friedman and monetarism introduced another perspective. Friedman believed that to understand the economy, we must pay attention to one extremely important factor: money. Because money is not just something we exchange, it is the bloodstream flowing through the entire economic system. Friedman argued that persistent inflation is often connected to excessive growth in the amount of money circulating in the economy. If too much money chases the same amount of goods, prices rise. But if money becomes too restricted, the economy may lose its ability to grow. Once again, economics becomes the art of balance. After hundreds of years of debate, who actually won? Adam Smith with free markets, Marx with questions about inequality, Keynes with government intervention, or Friedman with the power of money? Perhaps the most interesting answer is, nobody owns the entire truth. Each thinker discovered only one piece of the most complex system humanity has ever created. The economy is not just charts, money, or numbers on a screen. It is the story of billions of people, how we cooperate, compete, create, and decide our future. So perhaps the biggest question in economics is not, which model is perfect, but what kind of world do we want to build?